I'm building Sumorbit, a physics-based fighting game where planets sumo wrestle to be the last one standing in the solar system. In part 1, I covered the process from a prototype to a slightly more advanced prototype. In this episode, I'll be playtesting the game in a competitive setting, balancing the game, and seeing who will come out on top of the rankings. I began playtesting at Friday Night Smash, a weekly Smash Bros tournament I'd been helping to run for 5 years. I had the game set up for people to try while waiting for their tournament sets. A bunch of new people tried the game, and they would tell me it was fun, but then put it down after about 5 minutes. And after about 5 weeks, people had lost interest. So how could I regain interest in the game? A patch? More variety? No! Stakes! Not real stakes like money or prizes, but glory! I started running tournament brackets. The first bracket had 12 entrants, which I was happy to see, though I was a little concerned that the bracket wouldn't be able to finish on time with only one setup. I made myself first seed. My first opponent was Ben Gold. He took me to last game, and I just barely scraped a win out of a physics quirk. I made it to winners finals without too much of a hitch, and then faced up against Ricky Clean. Another last round match, but this time I lost. In the losers bracket, I had a rematch with Ben. By this point, he'd learned and adapted and demolished me in losers finals. It turns out the game is simple to pick up and simple to master, apparently. So the answer to can people beat me at my own fighting game was yes, but that didn't stop me from changing the game so that I could win. Bracket playtests found some new fairly effective strategies, like grabbing just to drain health. Ben had a bunch of suggestions after the event, and basically fixed some fundamental problems with the game after only playing it once. Mashing bounce was effective to stop yourself from going out of the ring. So I made it that if you timed your bounce while touching the ring, you'd be sent faster towards the center. If you spin while being grabbed, you can break out of grabs faster. Also, the grabber can spin in the opposite direction to the player that they're grabbing to prevent them from breaking out. I made the ring shrink faster so that matches wouldn't become a camping fest. And I was finding that bounce was a little underwhelming, so I increased its power. Little did I know that these changes were my ticket to victory. I abused the increased bounce power to secure first place for the first time. With the new emphasis on spinning to break out of grabs, I made a visual indicator to show where the players were spinning effectively. Rings are shown surrounding the planet that glow white when you're spinning as fast as you need to for maximum speed. The rings grow for the player spinning in the correct direction and shrink for the player spinning in the wrong direction. From another Ben Gold suggestion, players are able to drain health from the sun. This further incentivized players to go towards the center of the map, encouraging engaging with your opponents. I also added a bloom effect and particles to the sun to make it look more like the sun. To make it easier to tell when the ring can't be bounced, I made it happen when the sun fully dies. Over the next few weeks, I refined grab and bounce strength. Regular players started to shine through. Swait, Embo, Kajek and I were all trading victories. I separated planets into core and mantle pieces. This made the bounce resource meter easier to see. I also made it so timing your bounce for extra power made the core turn white, versus just the mantle if it wasn't timed well. An effective strategy was mashing grab on your opponent to keep them stun locked. To combat this, I made the amount of grab stun increase based on how much the player was swung around while grabbed. I found that parrying wasn't very obvious, so I made a distinct sound for it. I also made it more effective by inducing stun. This had the unintended side effect that if you were parried and bounced at the same time, you could be launched super fast without being able to grab to survive. To combat this, I made bouncing and being bounced reduce stun. I made a color selector so that players could choose any hue from 0 to 360. After having some trouble selecting a specific number, I made it so that the selector zooms in after a certain time. This allowed players to express their personality a little bit by repping their favourite colour. Players were sometimes frustrated with not being able to time a grab while in stun. So I made it that you can hold the grab button while stunned in order to grab on the first frame after stun ends. I'd also finally figured out why sometimes players would be super bounced randomly. It was caused by grabbing a bouncing opponent. Sometimes the grab would come out before the moon was ejected from the parry. This caused the bounce to continuously affect the moon that was grabbing it. I fixed this by explicitly not allowing players to grab an opponent that was currently bouncing. I had plans to introduce new planets as characters, but I wanted to get the mechanics nailed down first. Since I was happy with the mechanics at this point, it was the definitive single character patch. I planned to tally up everyone's results and compare them head to head, both in previous patches and the final patch. With the final tournament for the rankings approaching, it was looking pretty even between me, Embo, and Swait for first place. It all came down to FNS 266. Swait, being a little rusty after his hiatus, went down to me 2-0, and then to Spammage in the losers bracket. Then it was me and Embo. If I could win against Embo, I would have a positive record on everybody for the definitive patch. It was a close battle, but Embo beat me in winners finals and then grand finals. So the rankings were set. Embo was crowned first, Swait's win rate on Embo in the previous patches got him second, and I was third. Kajek came fourth, and Spammage got an honourable mention for some impressive wins. But that's not the end of the story. There's more than one planet in the solar system. Subscribe to see what happens when Jupiter goes up against Mercury. And also, wishlist the game on Steam.